All right. Welcome to another episode of the All American Hoops podcast. I'm Chris Driscoll. Joining me as per usual is my younger brother, Matt Driscoll.
Hey, it's always a pleasure. Vibes are higher than last episode.
Slightly.
I would say they're high this episode. I would say vibes are high this
Okay.
episode.
Okay.
I know obviously first episode since the Celtics have been eliminated, but as LeBron said, it's just basketball. It's baseball season anyway, so we move on.
Sure is. And also joining me is my older brother, John Driscoll.
Hey, H, thanks for having us on. Excited for this episode. I think it's going to be a good one. But yeah, vibes better than last week, but still not definitely not the way they were in May of 2024. But
that's for sure. I'm hoping this is the Andrew Thomas episode, by the way. One of the only even though he's very injury prone, I would still definitely consider him a positive part of the Giants, at least one of the more positive parts about the Giants. Other than that, there is no NBA player in history to wear the number 78. There is no player in Mets history to wear the number 78. The only other 78 that I'm familiar with is Julio Urias, who wore number 78 in he wore number 78 in 2016, by the way. So that makes it even worse. But so yes, I'm not really surprised though. 78 isn't really an attractive number, but I'm excited for 79 next week though.
It's also the last episode of All American Hooper being. Are we allowed to leak your age on this on the pod, Chris?
You may.
All right, last episode being 25 years old.
That's correct.
So,
and
good news.
Yeah, pending an emergency podcast in between now and Monday. We will see. It's also my last. It will likely be my last episode recording as a 25-year-old because NBA Max is on Sunday night. But I do not believe I'll be making the trip there for the second week in a row. But
I'm going to call my shot here, Chris.
Okay.
I think you're getting gift of a lifetime.
Okay. I'm excited.
No pressure.
That's
you
okay.
Don't like it, but
no, it's okay. I thought that my gift to you was pretty good. Not gonna lie. But yeah, I don't know if you have it on you, but probably not. Oh, you do. Perfect. Okay. It's hard. Oh, that's hard to open up though.
Let's see. This is good podcasting. Good for people listening.
yeah,
Yes.
you got to frame that.
Chris got me a poster of the starting five of the Celtics team. Is Allen it too? Is it the
Al
six?
isn't it? Yes, he is. Yep, he is.
Sweet.
Mhm.
The top six rotational guys of the 2024 NBA champion Boston Celtics. So very, very exciting.
It was on parade day. So 4 days after they won the title. Back when vibes were the highest.
The fourth day into my new job, and I suggested taking off and going to the parade, and you would have thought that that I suggested murdering somebody based on how my mother reacted. She was not for it, and probably for the better. I probably shouldn't be taking sick days on Fridays.
They were right.
Job. Yeah,
They were right.
Probably right.
If I had a friend in Boston, I probably would have gone up myself because the job that had laid me off at the time, that was my last day there. So that would have been a very nice middle finger to them. But not going to call any names there out of respect to the people that work there. We got a great show ahead of us. So, as we mentioned, unfortunately, our Boston Celtics is our first episode recording since they've been eliminated. It's also the first episode in AH podcast in which the Celtics are eliminated because last year was the first season that we recorded, and they ended up winning the title last year because I was so looking forward to saying this year they won again. I would have said we're 2-0 in years of the podcast, but so not this year, unfortunately, but that's okay. But we still do have an awesome show ahead of us. We'll be talking about the conference finals matchups. Between the Thunder and the Timberwolves and the Knicks and the Pacers. One awesome game, another not so awesome game. And after that, we have a new feature, or hopefully a new series. I'm hoping we can either make this a once a month thing. If it's big enough, we can maybe do once every other week, leading up to it. But we are opening a mailbag. So I tweeted out and I posted the screenshots of the tweet on Instagram. And took some questions from most of these were just friends, but the next time I do this, I'm probably going to post a TikTok about it, and then hopefully get more comments through that. But we're going to be answering some questions. I didn't specify what the questions were, so I just let people ask whatever the questions they wanted to. For the next mailbag, it would likely be more specific towards something. So I'm thinking likely it's going to be like about like the offseason, like the next time we do that mailbag, depending on how this one goes, maybe even before the finals, we'll see. But regardless, I'm still very, very excited to start it up. But before we do that, we will let's talk about the current events. And let's start off by talking about the most recent news, in which we watched debatably the most entertaining game of basketball we've seen all season long. The Knicks blew a 14-point, like after coming back from 2 20-point leads and a 14-point lead against debatably the best team in the league in the Celtics, which sealed their win, which all but sealed their winning against the Celtics. To move on to the conference finals, they got a taste of their own medicine, and blew out what was a 16-point fourth quarter lead with like 7 minutes left, and a 9-point lead with like 53 seconds left. So, but it wasn't just the Knicks blowing the lead; it was also the Pacers executing it very well. It was former Celtic legend Aaron Nesmith going absolutely berserk from 3, hitting like 4 or 5. What was it? Maybe it was more like 5 or 6 threes in the fourth quarter. And then Tyrese Halliburton with the classic step back, long 2, almost a 3, and remaking the Reggie Miller choke right in front of him. So and then winning the game in overtime, which even that the Knicks had a couple opportunities to close, but they didn't. So overall, great it was a great coming from a basketball fan. It was a great game, but we said it multiple times last night in our group chats. It was I couldn't it's tough to quantify, and maybe it's recency bias, but I do believe this was worse than any of the leagues that the Celtics blew last week. But I don't know if I'm overreacting. But either way, I cannot imagine everything going on. I think that John was probably the most active one in the group chat, honestly. So, John, I know your thoughts already, but I believe the audience would like to know your thoughts as well.
Well, I think that. You mentioned it was 16 with 7 minutes left. I think it was 14 or 12 with like 2 and change left.
Yeah.
Like, I think it was that outrageous. I think if I'm a Knicks fan with 2.5 minutes left, up 14, I'm probably complaining that Jalen Brunson is still in the game. And I had it on. I was doing a little cleaning in my apartment. I had it on and I turned it off. I was watching on my phone for a little bit. And then I saw it was 8 with like 30 seconds left or whatever it was. Saw that Nesmith made a 3 to cut it to 5. Knicks had the ball, but I still turned it on to see how they would kind of close it out. By the time I turned it on, that was the controversial play where it looked like OG got fouled a little bit there. I don't know. The refs kind of decide pick and choose when to say the hand is part of the ball sometimes. Mm-hmm. Let them play. Obviously, Pacers got the ball back. And then what did they do? They came down. Nesmith hit another 3, right, to cut it to 2. Knicks get fouled. OG goes 1 of 2 from the line. I might be skipping a possession here or something.
Was it OG or was it Cat? It was OG missed a free throw eventually.
The line where I think they went 2 of 4, right?
Yes, correct. Yeah.
Okay, they went 2 of 4. Both missed 1. And then, like you said, Chris, Tyrese Halliburton comes down. Hits those shots. I don't know if it's just how he shoots it or like his form's a little wonky. It's very high arcing, so it feels like the ball's in the air for like a year. Higher bounce than I know Kawhi's was like in the second round, not the Eastern Conference Finals, but not in Game 7. But like a higher bounce, like it bounced and was like in the air for a lot longer than Kawhi's. Didn't double doink, but completely outrageous shot. And then, the premature Reggie Miller choke thing. I think we all knew Tyrese Halliburton had that in his bag, had that in the holster for, he knew he was going to do that for the past year and a half. Premature, could have led to probably one of the worst, getting ahead of yourself memes ever. But credit to the Pacers. They came back, and it's easy for, especially when you're on the road, if you come back, make it such a big comeback, it's easy to kind of you're so amped up, and then you get like 5 minutes in between regulation and overtime, and you kind of, the adrenaline kind of wears off, and it's easy to just like let up, and, the Knicks could have taken Game 1 there, but devastating loss for the Knicks. I still think if they take Game 2, they still remain in the driver's seat because I still think they're the favorite to win this. But it's hard to get into like a player's head, like their mentality. This could very well end up being a game where Knicks fans and Knicks players look back and say, they stole one there, and that dictated the series. It's on the Knicks now to come out and win Game 2 at home in pretty, deciding factors. I just think, a lot of the Knicks fans that we know, and rightfully so, they say this, it's just one game, it's a loss, it doesn't really matter. It just goes down as a loss. Doesn't matter how we lost. We know it more than anyone. We were the guys saying that after Game 1. You were controlling and dominating for so long, but it doesn't really matter sometimes. And I'm not saying this happened with the Knicks and the Celtics because I don't want to discredit what the Knicks did. They executed better and they beat the Celtics. But sometimes the better team doesn't execute and doesn't win. It's not necessarily always, this team beat that team, so they were the better team. No, it's the team that executes better. And the Knicks have done a really good job executing. They're running into a team that executes just as well as them in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, John, sorry. Did I cut anybody off?
No.
Sorry, a lot of great points there. I'm so happy. I love being a part of games that people are like, that was one of the best games, like just from a fan perspective. I'm so happy I'm on the just basketball fan side of this and not my team playing, because I would have hated watching that game if I was a Knick or Pacer fan. I would have been so nervous the entire time. But I have a couple notes here. So the Pacers obviously shot the lights out last night, especially in the fourth quarter. Their true shooting percentage for the game, and to start the game, they started off 8 of 8. Their true shooting percentage for the game was 61.4%. So people say, elite shooting night. For the playoffs, their true shooting percentage is 61.5%. So technically, based off of true shooting, this was a below average shooting night for the Pacers, which is unbelievable. The Knicks dominated, especially, at the beginning of the fourth quarter. I think, what do they go, 14, we said? I was like, all right, this game's over. Cat had a bucket that led to a Pacers timeout, and the crowd was into it. He was screaming through the crowd. But then, it kind of flipped on themselves. They had 6 turnovers in the fourth quarter and overtime. And you just can't. Brunson had 7 of them for the game. I'm trying to see. Let me see how many he had in the fourth here. Brunson had 1 turnover in the fourth and 2 in overtime. So 3 turnovers. You can't turn the ball over against his Pacer teams. Obviously, they run and gun. They scored 138 points. I mean, the Knicks scored 135 points and still lost. It's kind of like the reverse of Game 2 of the Knicks-Celtics game, where the Celtics held the Knicks to 91 points and they still lost. It's like, how can you score 135 points and lose? The Pacers shot the lights out. Like I said, they had 7 threes in overtime, and they're so deep. They hurt you in so many ways. They have a lot of guys that could step up and win a game. Like obviously Halliburton's their star, and Siakam's gonna do what he does. But you have a guy like an Aaron Nesmith that could score 30 points and hit 7 threes or 8 threes. He shot 8 and 9. So yeah, I mean, credit to the Pacers. They could have folded when they were down 14 and said, it's game 1 of the series. We're the road team. We can just try to do the job game 2. It's just the job is for us just to steal one on the road. But they didn't give up, and one of the best games in my recent memory.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Shout out Obi Toppin too. He made a couple of great buckets down the stretch. Andrew Nemhard, we know him very well. The Obi Toppin dunk isn't getting talked about enough. He double clutched, got fouled, and still finished. I think I said in the group chat last night, no disrespect to Jaylen Brown, we love him. That dunk was better than anything he did in the slam dunk contest. Yeah. That dunk was unbelievable to do in a playoff game with, 14 seconds left in overtime. And I don't want to be critical about the Knicks here because that's like a gut-wrenching loss, and playing that much probably gets you gassed. But what was the defense on that inbound? They weren't pressuring the ball. They kind of I think they were kind of trying to decide whether to try to trap and then foul. And they didn't expect the Pacers to just kind of rim run, which is kind of what they do every time they get the ball. But honestly, I mean, we can sit here and say the Celtics are a better team than the Pacers. But it's an argument, especially if one of the Celtics, goes into like a shooting slump, or they can't hit threes like they did in the last season. The Pacers' offense is so much better than the Celtics at times. Just the way they run.
Absolutely, yeah. That was last year too. It was the 2 best offenses in the league going at each other. So yeah, for 100%, yeah.
And it's going to be tough. like it's almost harder to beat a high-powered offense than it is a high-powered defense. Because if you run into a bad shooting night, it's tough to keep up with that. So I don't expect the Pacers to. I don't expect Aaron Nesmith to hit 9 threes again. But I don't know. It's just a high-powered offense that gets into transition. It's one of the best transition offenses I've ever seen.
Yeah. I have another take about this game. I mean, like I said, the Knicks scored 135 points. Statistically, they got good games from Karl-Anthony Towns and Jalen Brunson. Brunson had 43 and Cat had 35. They shot well too. I mean, obviously Brunson had the 7 turnovers, but offensively they had great games, and the Pacers still found a way to steal this one.
Yeah, absolutely. We brought up the Celtics from last year. My favorite thing is the SpongeBob meme of SpongeBob and Mr. Krabs sitting like around the fire, and Mr. Krabs is like clearly like telling him like an intense story. And like usually the meme is about like me telling someone like deep stories about World War II at 3 a.m. and then it's like the college freshman who's like just looking who's like just interested in pledging. But like this one is Celtics fans talking to like random NBA fans about the Pacers, and then like all the tweets about like we know like because the Pacers are the Pacers are just such a respectable team, and I don't know what it is about them. Like maybe it's just the fact that they like and like we'll talk about it in the mailbag later, but like maybe it's the fact that they don't have like a solidified superstar, but they just have so many different ways of beating you. They don't have a great they don't have like a single great I think the Halliburton is one of the 5 or 10 best offensive players in the league, but like they don't have a top 10, 15 like they don't have a great defender, but what they do have is great teamwork, and they have great scheming, and they have great coaching. So that's what it comes down to for the Pacers, is the fact that they're able to play like I read this in my article, since the All-Star break they have a top 10 defense. So it's not like this is like a completely like foreign concept to them being able to match up with the Knicks. Like obviously defense wasn't really existent last night, but like outside of OG making a couple good plays in the first half. But I'm sure that both teams are going to step it up are going to pick it up a little bit more on the defensive end, especially because I'm sure some of them might be a little fatigued. Next game, that'll be tomorrow, I believe, but it'll be very interesting to see what adjustments either team is going to make, because obviously the Knicks are going to be down 1-0. This is going to be a must win for them. But the Pacers were up 1-0 on the Cavs last series. The Cavs were up like same thing happened. They were up big in the fourth quarter. People will say, okay, so this is the Pacers like took care of business. No, the Pacers stormed back, and then Halliburton hit that buzzer beater to put the Pacers up 1-0. So if there's one thing I would tell the Knicks, and obviously the same deal for this, like the things that the Celtics dealt with too. Don't take anything for granted anymore. Obviously, we know the Knicks are like a very gritty team. The Pacers are a gritty team as well, and they're not gonna completely roll over if the game looks over. Because one of the points that this was on NBA Max on Sunday nights. I wasn't on the panel, but sports Tony, the producer of the show, Tony, he said that he's taking the Knicks, and I took the Knicks too. I took the Knicks in 7, still taking the Knicks in 7. He said that it's going to come down to it at the end of the day. That like the Knicks have that guy, their closer, Jalen Brunson. Halliburton has done it at times, but we don't know if he's a closer. Tyrese Halliburton is a closer. He's one of the best closers in the league. And yeah, he is a closer. He's an absolute dog. Like I know he's. People call Cat like a little zesty. I think the Halliburton could be a little that way too, but no, he is a dog, and he is not afraid of anyone. He will target anyone, and like he's like a dog in his own way, because he'll take the shots when he needs to, but like at the same time he's gonna make the right play too, because like there was like I forgot which play it was. I don't know if this was in overtime or if it was in the fourth quarter. He completely he like made like the right read. To Nembhard down the open lane when it seemed like Halliburton could have gotten shot up, but like no, he just saw like perfect court vision. So Halliburton is one of my favorite players in the league, and he's just been awesome. He's been awesome since the All-Star. I picked him to be an All-Star. I don't know if that had anything to do with him stepping it up, but like he's looked like a top 15 player since the All-Star break, and since the playoffs, he's been even better. So props to him. I don't know if you guys have anything else on either of the teams.
How much is the blame on Tom Thibodeau?
Ooh,
Is it on? Do you just like point to it and say like, if Karl Anthony Towns or OG Anunoby go 2 for 2 at the line instead of 1 for 2? I think OG took 3, so he missed 1.
Right. Yeah.
The game's over. So
it's very easy to point to the coach after blowing the lead. Just because like they should have called a timeout and everything there, and maybe they could have made the proper adjustments. I always feel like I don't want to say always I do feel like at this point it can be a little bit of a cop out. Maybe I'm a little more sympathetic towards the coach now because their leash is so short. For Thibodeau, it wouldn't be that short because he's been with them for 4 or 5 years now. But I don't know. Yeah, obviously some blame can go to him, but at the end of the day, like he's not one of the guys playing on the court. Like they're the ones that have to that have to adjust and have to make the right plays.
I also want to say that I know we sometimes criticize Jalen Brunson due to our Knicks fan friends jamming him down our throats. He was really, really great in overtime until that last possession, and he's going to get criticized for that last possession. It wasn't a good look, and he kind of stuck his ass out a little bit there to foul, and I think that's why he gets criticism. But man, before that, he was making some pretty impressive plays down the stretch, kept the Knicks in the game in overtime. He had one that I really liked where he kind of split the defense, low dribble, then brought it up to a floater. Credit to him. He's been really good, especially in those moments. I know he got Clutch Player of the Year, and I know he doesn't need anybody else hyping him up, but I did see a couple people trashing him online for that last shot, and that's why I get annoyed at like clutch stats, because like a layup or a jump shot with 3.5 minutes left in overtime to like stop a Pacers run is very important. It's not as important as a last second shot, but like you should take that into consideration. But yeah, he's going to get criticized for that last shot.
Yeah, he had 6 points in overtime. Like, granted, he only had 1 field goal, but I mean, he shouldn't. I think maybe the turnovers you blame him a little bit, but I feel like he's one of the last people to blame on the Knicks.
Someone said like, like how is it? Somebody said like, oh, am I crazy for thinking that wasn't really a good Brunson game? Yeah, you are.
You are crazy.
Yeah, he had a very good game.
He shot 10 points in the fourth quarter, 4 or 6 from the field. Like, yeah, that's a good game.
All right, guys, you're gonna make me do it. You're gonna I know I don't like doing it on the show, but I am going to be the Jalen Brunson critic on the show for the segments. Yes, Jalen Brunson did play awesome on offense. However, that being said, he did have 5 fouls, and the Pacers knew that he had 5 fouls and targeted the hell out of him, and it paid off. And it's something that we've been concerned about. It's something that the Celtics should have done more. It's something that the Celtics should have done more with, like doing like the 2-man game with whoever Cat and Brunson were guarding, and it just didn't work out that way. And the Pacers did their best to do that, and it worked out for them. I'm sure the Knicks are going to try to find a way to like hide Brunson, maybe putting him on one of the worst offensive players on the team. I don't even know who that would be, given that Neesmith just dropped over 30 on them. So I don't know if that would work out. But either way, we'll see what happens there. I'll be talking more about Jalen Brunson in one of the mailbag questions later. But great game from him, but far from perfect, I would say. I think that's it for it. Game 2 is tomorrow night. It's going to be a great series though. We'll move out west now. So the Thunder beat the Nuggets on Sunday afternoon. And then they played the Timberwolves on Tuesday. So after playing a 7-game series, they only had one day off. And then they didn't look rusty at all, or not rusty. They didn't look tired at all. However, the Timberwolves did look a little rusty. Totally. They just, and I know the Thunder are, and I'm not going to blame rust or tiredness for either one, because the Thunder are a clearly better team than the Timberwolves, in my opinion. The Timberwolves have been an awesome team. They've been debatably the second best team in the West since the All-Star break. It's definitely been either them or Golden State. The Wolves just look totally overmatched between everything going on. The Thunder are the better roster top to bottom. Matt, you got any thoughts on this game?
Yes. Thunder were down by 4 going into the half. and they were still able to pull it away. I have a couple pro Wolves take to make Ryan McManus and all the other Wolves fans that are watching feel better. So obviously, the goal when you go on the road is just to win one. Steal one at home. I said it earlier. If the Wolves win tonight, this game's forgotten. You can just throw it out. It was, they pulled away at the end, but like I said, they were up 4 going into half. They had awful games from Dante DiVincenzo and Naz Reid. They were 4-25 from the field combined. Jaden McDaniels fouled out with a couple minutes left in the fourth, I believe. They shot 29% from 3. They shot, which is an 8-point drop off from the regular season. And people are saying they took too many threes. They took 50. In the regular season, they took 40 a game. So, yeah, that is more, but it's not like a crazy amount. And they averaged 15 threes. Like I said, they shot 38% from 3 this season. So, I think the Wolves can compete. I don't think they will beat the Thunder. I think they can compete with the Thunder because you got bad games from basically everybody besides Julius Randle. And you were competing with them for 3 quarters.
Fair enough. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I kind of go both ways here. I don't want to make an overreaction to a team winning big at home in game 1. I think that's happened quite a few times. But I think that the Timberwolves still have a way to win this series. Like Matt said, just steal game 2. Or even if you lose game 2, like the series doesn't start until you lose at home, right? That's the saying. But at the end of the day, I think that the Thunder playing the Nuggets kind of made people forget how good the Thunder are. Mm-hmm. I think the Nuggets were a lot better than people gave them credit for. But the Thunder won 68 games this year. They have the MVP officially. And I just think that they're very, very overpowered on both sides of the ball. And there's a reason why they're the heavy favorite to win the NBA Finals. And credit to them. They took care of business in game 1. I don't think the series is over. But there is a little bit of pressure on the Wolves to maybe, not technically win tonight, but make it a little more competitive than it was in game 1 because I think the Thunder are, this is a horrific. This is like a very modern NBA take. The Thunder are very good when things are going good. They're like a vibes team. Sometimes when things are going bad, they stumble a little bit. But if they can take care of business at home, win 2, it'll be tough for the Timberwolves to, win 4 out of the next 6, right? Or the
next 5. For the
next 5, yeah. So it's always tough. I always think it's like a series always seems so much more open until you realize how much a team has to win over the next like if you lose, like you're the road team, you lose 1 and 2 on the road. It's like not the end of the world, but then you realize you got to win 4 or 5, and it's like, oh shit, like
exactly.
That's a lot harder than it seems. But I think everyone on this panel here has the Thunder winning, but I wouldn't count out the Timberwolves just yet.
I'm counting out the Timberwolves because I think that I think the Thunder are going to run through the rest of the season. I think they're going to. I said in my primetime article, when I gave my predictions, I don't think the Thunder are playing more than 10 games the rest of the season. I think they're going to win the finals. So, I just think that top to bottom, they're just so much better than everyone else. I think that Shea is easily the best player remaining. I think that the bench is the best player remaining. I think that Mark Daigneault is probably the best coach remaining, if I'm correct. Yes, he's the best coach remaining. Chris Finch is a great coach too, but I just think that
Carlisle.
Carlisle, shout out Carlisle. Yeah, he's awesome, but I wouldn't consider him in 2020.
Really, that's a specialist.
No, he's not. But I would also go with the Thunder mainly. I'm also just thinking about just like matchup wise with the Timberwolves. I'm going to talk about Rudy Gobert for a second. The Wolves can't afford to play him on offense, but they can't afford to lose him on defense. So it's just a matchup nightmare for them because obviously, the Thunder have this elite offensive team. They need Gobert out there to defend the rim because Shea's one of the best drivers in the league. They need Gobert to be able to stop him. They need him to grab the rebounds and everything, to grab all the rebounds for their. Because that's one thing that OKC is great at. The great offensive rebounds, whether it's iHeart, Chet, or even Lou Dort. But on offense, like the Thunder have one of the best not one of they have the best defense in the league between. And like their best defensive five out there is probably the combination of Caruso, Dort, their double big, and I guess probably J-Dub. Then it would be Shea, but like between like those five guys defending, having Gobert be like that like offensive pole. Like it's not like he's like a Luke Cornett guy to where like he could like he's like a good like off the ball to where he could like hang out in the dunker spots. No, Gobert like clogs up the middle too much, and you can afford to do that against a team like the Lakers, or even in some games like against Golden State, but against a team like the Thunder, you can't do that. But also at the same time, the Thunder the Wolves don't have the good enough personnel on the defensive end to afford losing him either. So that's just a matchup nightmare for them. But either way, like
if you turn the ball over. Sorry, Chris.
No. Go ahead. Yeah.
Sorry, you lagged out there for a second. I thought you weren't speaking. If you turn the ball over versus the Thunder, you're not going to win the game. John, you mentioned the Pacers in transition. The Thunder in transition are scary, and they score in bunches. I mean, we saw it in the second half last night. I mean, 2 nights ago. They beat the Wolves in the third quarter 32-18, then in the fourth quarter 38-22. Like they just totally turned it up. 19 turnovers for the Wolves, just too many to win a game, especially on the road, especially in an environment like Oklahoma City's.
Absolutely. Yeah, I still got like I still think Minnesota picks them off. I'm still gonna go OKC in 5, but I don't know. I'm just interested to see which like obviously the crazier things have happened to where the one seed loses, especially if it's a young team like OKC. But I don't even know which team would match up with. I guess the Knicks would probably match up with the Thunder a little bit better than the Pacers because of the defense. But I don't know. Great. Okay, so I didn't ask you guys about the Knicks though. Did all of us pick the Knicks in the price for last year's? I don't think we ever talked about it publicly, but I don't know what your guys' thoughts were prior to yesterday.
I don't think I picked because I was so sad.
Yeah.
I'm saying Pacers in 6.
Okay.
I'll probably go Pacers in 7.
Okay. Yeah.
I had that pick before yesterday.
I went with Knicks in 7. I'm going to stay with my Knicks in 7 pick. I hope I'm wrong, but I haven't really had the best luck with my picks this year. So, excuse me, but yeah, we'll see what happens there. Anyway, we got our most fun segments. I'm really this is probably the most I'm looking forward to a segment since taking the phone calls. We'll do that in a couple weeks as well. We tried to do it a couple weeks ago, but it didn't work out. But we will be listing. We will be answering some questions from our mailbag. This is where I would shout out to Bobby Skinner of the former host of the Talking Giants podcast. I think he has his own podcast now, but this is where I would play mail time from Steve of Blues Clues.
Giants Nation.
Giants Nation. That was called. Yeah, shout out Giants Nation. I don't know if I told you guys off air, but my friend Mike said that we should consider reaching out because he's trying to expand the brand. So maybe we'll do that around September, maybe August or something. But who knows? Cool. So give me 1 second. Just gotta pull up the pull up my questions here. Got them. Okay. First question is, what are you looking? This is the first question from friend of the pod, Matt McCann, who's been on about 3 or 4 times at this point. The question is, what are you most looking forward to the Celtics for this for the offseason? Matt, I don't know if you wanted to. You want to get that one first? I got a couple, but
yeah. So, obviously, as like a massive fan, and we're kind of sickos. We're always looking up like contracts and potential trades and stuff like that. I have no idea what direction the Celtics are going to go. Obviously, they have to shed some money to get out of the second apron. They got to get rid of either Drew Holiday, Porzingis. I have seen Derek White thrown around. I mean, I don't think they do that. I have seen Jaylen Brown thrown around. I don't think they do that either. But long story short, long-winded answer short, I think that I am most excited to see what Brad Stevens does, because he's proven time and time again that we should just have blind faith and blind trust in that man. He's maybe the best employee at his job in America right now, Brad Stevens. So I'm very excited to see what he cooks this offseason. I have no idea what direction he's going to go in, but I have full trust in him.
How cool would it be to see a conversation between David Stearns and Brad Stevens?
Oh.
Just, I think they're both so good at their jobs, but they do it in such different ways. You know, I think Stearns really gets, Stearns really picks these guys. I guess they're pretty similar though, because I was going to say Stearns really picks these guys off the bargain bin, guys like Griffin Canning who haven't really been doing much. And he turns them into these guys with their pitching lab and all their development stuff. But, you know, Brad Stevens did that with Derek White. You know, Derek White was a defensive specialist who could not hit a three for his life, and now he's a both ways guy. So I do have to apologize. I pee before every show, but I drink so much water throughout the day that I always have to pee like 40 minutes into the show. So it was the question, what are we excited for in the Celtics offseason?
That is correct, yeah.
Yeah, you know, it's one of those things. I'm not really sure if I'm like super excited for this offseason, because you're going to have to see some guys who were like integral parts of the championship run last year get shipped out. You know, I got really upset when I saw Drew Holiday at his, you know, postseason press conference. You know, still definitely wants to be here. I think Brad extended him last year knowing that they had like 2 or 3 years with this core, but you saw that all kind of topple down with Tatum out next year. You know, it's not going to be the same. And with this CBA second apron luxury tax problem, in a year where Tatum's not really going to play too much, if at all, probably not going to contend for a championship. So is this the year that you kind of reset? You kind of go underneath. And is that, you know, obviously you try to find something for KP. You try to find something for Drew to get some cash back. And if you get a Bridges type deal for Derek White, I'm not saying you take it. You have to consider it. You know, so I don't really think I'm really excited for – I'm definitely excited to see what Brad does, because, you know, we trust him and we love him a lot. But it's kind of going to be bittersweet. You know, a lot of these moves that are going to be good for the future are definitely going to be tough to swallow as a fan.
That's for sure. Yeah, I'll go into the question in a more specific way. I'm looking forward to the weird trade that Brad makes. Because everyone's talking about, he's going to trade KP, he's going to trade Drew, he might trade D White or Jaylen. I think that he's going to get something in return for either Peyton Pritchard or Sam Hauser. I know that people saying that Peyton Pritchard is untouchable. I do not believe he's untouchable at all. He traded away Marcus Smart, he traded away Rob Williams. I think that anyone, I don't want to even say not named Jaylen Brown, because I feel like Jaylen Brown could be an interesting trade piece as well, depending on which team would be willing to take on that contract, but I'm not sure.
The reason why I disagree with Peyton Pritchard is that whatever you get back for him is not going to be worth what you're paying him right now. For the production he's given you at like 70,
yeah.
I just don't see – like, I don't see the, you know, you coming up on top in like an opportunity cost kind of way. That's
fair enough. I think had the Celtics won this year, it would have been a more justifiable way of trading him, because my thing with Payne at this point, I don't think that he's a playoff riser. Like maybe a little bit of a playoff dropper, because of like his size and everything. Yeah, like he got like very limited time in the finals. But if they're not going to be contenders next year, maybe it is worth maybe it's worth like just like giving him the extra reps next year and seeing how he could be as a starter. But I don't know. He just wants $6 million a year, so maybe other teams are going to be willing to trade him for another solid starter or two. But who knows? Maybe not two starters, but a starter and other pieces. But we'll see. But that will segue into my other question from another friend of the pod, Liam McAllister. He messaged me on Instagram. He said, hang on. Yeah, I wrote it down, but it was very initiated. So yeah, his DM says, should the Celtics trade Jaylen Brown as a part of a deal to get Giannis? Now, I'll answer this question up front, just because I don't know you guys tried. I tried for a solid 45 minutes today on Spotrac to see if I can get a trade for Jaylen Brown and Giannis, including our third team. Maybe I have to include a fourth team. It is damn near impossible to trade Jaylen Brown for Giannis, because the Celtics are over the second apron, so they cannot aggregate players. What they call it. It's like so you can't like trade Giannis here and then trade say Sam or Payton to like another third team and then take in more salary like as part of the deal, which is again Malcolm Brogdon, Grant Williams, and CJ McCollum all deserve prison sentences for what they've done. And it's just
they should be thrown in jail. They legitimately should be thrown in jail.
It's again, maybe I'm doing something wrong on my end, but like I just don't see any. Like I don't think I saw a single trade. Like not even to make it justifiable to Jan's end. I'm talking about mathematically. I do not believe it's possible to trade for Giannis. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't. But or maybe there's other things to consider. But the Celtics can't. The Celtics. You know what it is actually. You know what at the cast happened. I think the Celtics have to trade more. Like I think they would have to trade Drew and or Porzingis before, and then trading Jaylen. So that maybe that's the case there, but up front, like they can, like the day after the finals, they can't trade for Giannis. And I think a couple things have to happen before trading for Giannis, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I think logistically, like you said, realistically, logistically, it won't happen. Hypothetically, yes, I would. Package Jaylen Brown for a Giannis, but he's legit. He's the only guy on the trade block that I would do that for. Yeah, I don't think it happens. I don't think they move Jaylen Brown. I think Noah Zadell, friend of the pod, she tweeted, "You have to keep Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum on the same team for as long as you can," and I think that's exactly what you have to do. Especially, they're just entering their prime. You have to keep the duo together.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I think people have like a sour taste in their mouths of Jaylen. He was a little inconsistent this playoff run. He's playing on torn meniscus, and this is a guy who I don't want to say relies, because he is talented outside of his athleticism, but this is a guy who definitely needs his athleticism. You know, he went up for a couple in the series. He went up for a couple dunks that normally he would finish, and the explosiveness was just not there, and he still found ways in certain games to leave his impact. Yeah, I think it's, Matt, you said it. If the avenue's there in a perfect world, you probably do it. It sucks as a fan to say that. But I just think overall, Celtics trading this offseason, it's not going to be, you're not going to be seeing them bring in any like fun players.
Mm-hmm.
I think the purpose of them trading is to reset in a way. I'm not talking rebuild. I'm talking like getting players on cheaper deals, to kind of get under the second apron, because, like you said, this Players Association decided they wanted to punish teams who draft well and want to pay their homegrown players.
It's really ridiculous, but I feel like we talk about that every week. But I'll move on. Yes, so Liam had a second question about another team, but before we do the second team, I do want to say again, I feel like it's a lot of friends of the pods that ask these questions. The ones that are committed to it. So, other friend of the pod is from Jacob Blumberg. We had him on last year after the Bucks were eliminated. And he asked the Giannis question too. His was more broad. Should Giannis demand a trade? A, and B, what does a Giannis package look like? So we're answering the first question. Should Giannis demand his way out of Milwaukee?
It's easy for us to sit here and say yes, because it feels like he's like not wasting his talent or wasting his prime in Milwaukee. Mm-hmm. It's just such a bad situation there. However, like, I know we make fun of him for not really going deep in the playoffs the past couple of years. It's not really because of him.
No, it's not.
But and if he's comfortable in Milwaukee, he's got a family. If he likes living there, he gives off vibes where he would like living in Milwaukee, small town, not big. But sometimes he does, show that personality where he would be like fit to play in like a big market, whether that's like Houston. So, sitting here as a fan of the NBA, yes, he should request a trade. But I understand if he doesn't want to, because I think it's so easy to we play 2K or something like that. And, it's easy to like flip these guys for whatever, but you don't really see, the family or the personal side of it.
Chris, this is a more of a you question because you're the basketball historian on the pod. Is he the greatest Buck ever?
Another discussion that actually went on MBMax the other day. I would say yes. It's Kareem was there for 8 years, around the same as Giannis. I think that Kareem has slightly more MVPs, if I'm not mistaken. I think. Giannis has 2 at the Bucks. I think that Kareem had 3. They both have a ring. Although Giannis carried his ring. Kareem has more of a history of losing than Giannis, I would say. But I guess I would lean Giannis as the greatest Buck of all time.
Yeah, so that's the thing. It's like I don't think the fans would hate him if he requested a trade. I don't think it would be like a I'm trying to think like a LeBron situation or something like that. I feel like it would be the fans would love him forever no matter what happens here. Like John said, in like just his basketball career standpoint, like if you were playing 2K, yes, he should demand a trade because their situation is awful. It might be one of the worst in the league right now, especially with Dame out for the rest of the year. The rest of next year, I should say. But like John mentioned, he has a family. He does have that legacy in Milwaukee. Chris knows this more than I, but he's probably the greatest Buck of all time, like we just discussed. So, you kind of, there could be a feeling where he wants to be like a forever guy somewhere, a forever guy in Milwaukee and just solidify himself as the greatest Buck ever.
I absolutely I absolutely agree with that. Giannis should do what he wants. Don't even let's do his age. Just like Giannis, what do you want to do? Do you want to do you have your family in Milwaukee? Do you want to chill here? You're one of the I think he's one of the 2 best players in the league. He should do what he wants. Like I know it's an unfortunate situation, but I think regardless of what he's going to get traded to a team, it's not going to be much better. Like I'll tell you that right now because the teams have to either gut their team or they're just going to be in financial hell with the cap space going on. Which I'll kind of merge the because I know Jacob had the part 2, so I'll bring in Lean's point again. He said, should the Knicks trade for Giannis if they don't win the chip? I think that any team should trade for Giannis if they do not win the chip. I was going through again I was on Spotrac today just going through the certain teams and any team would benefit from Giannis no matter what their timeline is because I was also considering no matter what team takes on Giannis the other they're gonna have to involve the other 5 teams that aren't the other 5 teams that are below the second apron. That's the Hawks, it's the Nets, it's the Pistons, it's the I don't know the other 2 teams are, but what's going to have to happen is those teams are going to have to they're going to have to take some bad contracts, but also take on all the picks that go on with the deal too. So I'm just very interested to see what goes on there because it's not just Giannis, it's Kevin Durant, it's maybe Devin Booker, it's there's someone else on the big deal. I can't remember, but there are. It's Jalen Green's on a big deal, but it's big enough to where it's going to be a very interesting offseason to see how teams are going to deal with certain things because I know we agree that the Suns and the Bucks are probably the 2 worst teams, or probably in the 2 worst situations in the league. But it's going to be very tough to trade for Giannis either way, and that's part of the reason why I'm saying I don't think Giannis should demand his way out of the Bucks because when I was the worst, at least you could say, okay, Giannis is home and he's currently building a legacy to be the best Buck in NBA history, and even debatably speaking, one of the 5 or 10 best players to play for a single franchise. If you seriously, if you go through it, I guess maybe it's more at the top of the list. So Bird, Magic, Steph, Bird, Magic, Steph,
Kobe,
Dirk.
Yeah,
Giannis probably better than Dirk. Jokic, Jerry West. I think that might be it, honestly.
Bill Russell.
Bill Russell, yeah. So I would say very close to probably not top 5, but probably it is close, but I don't know if it's that close actually, but given because I already mentioned Bird, Magic, Steph, and Jerry West, but either way, I'd definitely put him top 10. I would say as the best players to play for a single franchise if he were to stay. But the Knicks would be interesting though because they would have to probably include Cats and they would have to include one of OG or Mikal, but but they would have to, again, a third team would have to come in and take on either Mikal or OG's contract, which again, neither of those contracts are that bad, but they're
the
not.
Bucks couldn't take on Mikal's contract as well.
No, because Cat's making the same amount of money as Giannis.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
He's
So
making
now,
like 50 something.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, that's the it's so hard. Like
it's like the most insane sports trading.
Maybe we'll do like an episode that's like not during a regular time, and like it's where I can be like sharing our screen. We could do like a whole sport track thing to see how we can like play with the deals, but it's gonna be very hard. Like I'm sure it's like a little bit easier than like what we're doing than what I'm doing on Spot Track, because like the GMs have been doing this for months probably, but playing it out for months I should say actually, but it's gonna be very interesting. Knicks check. What's the next one we want to go with? Let's go with the fun one. Let's go with Colin Hirsch, who I was friends with in high school. Still friendly with now. I've talked to him a little bit, but he is someone who, shout out to him by the way. So he is a Denver Nuggets fan. And he's been one since 2017. He was telling me in 2017 that Jokic is going to be an MVP one day, which I know you can't give him credit that much because he's a biased fan, but even as a biased fan, it is impressive when you say Jokic is going to win MVP one day. Now he has 3. So and debatably should have 5. So it's absolutely insane having the hindsight there. But
that's nuts, because in 2017 Jokic was only averaging 18 and a half. That's nuts.
Yes, it is. But his question, and this is like I don't know how many times you guys have talked to Hirsch much about basketball, but when I saw the comment, like this is definitely gonna be about 2000 basketball, because his question is, would you rather have 2009 D Wade or 2003 Tracy McGrady? Now, both of these are very interesting dynamics because they're both so like at their peak, 2 of the best shooting guards of the league. Both of them lost in the first round in 7 games. Both of them finished near the top of the ladder in MVP voting. I believe that D Wade finished in second in 2009, maybe third, maybe it was third behind KD, but I could be wrong. They averaged the same amount of points. Sorry. T-Mac averaged 2 more points per game than D Wade. D Wade was literally half a percent better from true shooting. But regardless, I don't know how much background you guys have, but I will go D Wade by a hair. Given that T-Mac is the better bucket getter. I know it's only 2 points per game, technically more, but I do think that D Wade averaged more free throws probably. But and also just eye test wise, T-Mac was clearly just a better bucket getter than D Wade, not even close. But I do think that D Wade is slightly better playmaker. That's close though. But what I do know is that D Wade did make an all defensive team that year, and T-Mac has never been. I do think his defensive deficiencies are a little blown out of proportion sometimes, but D Wade is one of the best guard defenders of our time, where T-Mac was considered like either like average or average to like below average. So give me D Wade by a hair, but I'm not mad at you at all if you say you're taking that version of T-Mac over any version of D Wade.
Yeah, this is extremely close. I'm on the player comparison on StatHead right now. You'd mentioned free throws, Chris. McGrady took 9.7 and Wade took 9.8. So literally 0.1 more.
That surprises me. Okay.
I mean, I can't believe how close this is. You said they both lost in the first round, right?
In 7 games, yeah.
7 games. Let's see. I'm trying to see who. Let me see. Sorry.
Yeah, you're good.
Oh my God, they both were good in the playoffs too.
They were both good in the playoffs. Yeah. That was nothing I forgot to mention.
Brady averaged 32. Wade averaged 29.
29, yeah. And both of them, D Wade was slightly more efficient. So, but I don't know how much of the fact that has to do with the fact that Wade's team was probably a little better than T-Mac's team at the time. But yeah, like I said, I do think that defense would be the deciding factor there. But again, like even the advanced stats, like I'm pretty sure the advanced stats are like I'm pretty sure like by BPM and VORP, like it's like neck and neck as well. So, I will take D Wade by a hair there.
Yeah, D Wade's BPM is 10.6 to McGrady's 10.5, and D Wade's VORP is higher at 9.6 to McGrady's 9.3. So extremely close, but Wade is leading in a lot of these by the little bit. So I'm also going to go with D Wade.
Mm-hmm. You know what's funny? By the way, I want to say this. Not to disrespect any other mailbag questions, but I think this takes the cake.
I think so too.
This was a great one. I got to be honest. I did a little snooping on All American Hooper's Instagram and saw this question last night, and I read it as D Wade 0809 or Tim Duncan 0203,
Oh.
and I still couldn't decide. It was that good. D Wade's season is that good. I love Tracy McGrady. I think 32 points a game in 2002 is insanity. I think he has the leg up offense wise, in my opinion, or scoring wise, I should say, in my opinion. But I think it's Dwayne Wade by a hair. Top 3 MVP finish, top 3 DPOY finish.
Oh, DPOY finish too. I know he's all defensive, but that's interesting. DPOY finish as well.
With 7.5 assists a game. Like it's hard to argue against that.
Yeah.
But it's so hard to say that. Like you look at the numbers and you weigh in the defense, it's like, yeah, Dwayne Wade wins, but like McGrady makes it so hard because that season was unbelievable too.
Fun, interesting fact, like interesting thing to point out. D Wade only took 3.5 threes a game. I mean, I was looking at this because McGrady shot 39% from 3 this year on 6 attempts, which in 2002, 2003 was probably like one of the most attempts in the league. D Wade only took 3.5 in 2008, 2009, but in the playoffs he took 7 and made 36% of them. So kind of an interesting changed his game up a little bit there. But I'm going to lean D Wade a little bit just because top 3. This is the year he won MVP, right? You said that, John?
Dwayne Wade?
Yeah, he finished top 3. No, he never won MVP. He finished top 3. Yeah. So that was the LeBron
never won MVP. You're right. You're right.
Yeah, it was LeBron. Was it Duncan that came in second, or was it? Oh, not Duncan. That wasn't. Yeah, that was. No, it was probably KD at that point, I think.
Well, let me ask you guys. Let's.
Oh no, that was 2010. Never mind. Go ahead. Yeah.
Let's pose the question that I thought we were all going to be asking: Tim Duncan in 0203 or
Tim. I know the stats don't back it up, but Tim Duncan was the best player in the league in 2003. Especially with
won MVP.
Well, yeah, he won MVP. In addition to the fact that he ended up beating Shaq and Kobe in the in like the year after their three-peat, which given that's it's not as impressive after three-peating because like, they're tied at that point, but yeah, like what's also left out the fact is that both Parker and Ginobili were not even near who they were at that point. David Robinson was a shell of himself. So yeah, Tim Duncan was the best player in the league at that point, and I think it was pretty undisputed as well.
Yeah,
and Tim Duncan MVP in 0203, top 4 DPOY. And
makes sense. Yeah.
3 that finished ahead of him: Ben Wallace, Meta World Peace, and KG.
Ah, interesting.
3 elite defenders.
Those are like the 3 people that you could be like, okay, yeah, top 4's finish is still pretty impressive.
Yeah, exactly.
So D Wade came in 3rd for MVP voting in 2008, 2009.
It was LeBron and Kobe, right? Yeah, it was Kobe that when they came.
I was going to ask who was the second. It's Kobe.
Yeah.
However, D Wade got more first place votes than Kobe.
Oh, okay, interesting.
Interesting, yeah.
Cool. All right. Yeah, this was yeah. Like I said, yeah, I definitely think that. Yeah, shout out to Colin Hirsch.
Yeah, shout out Hirsch.
That was a
great question.
He would be yeah. Like I asked him, but yeah, he would high-key be a good guess. You got to talk to him. Okay, so next question. This is not the question that was asked, but however, I'm gonna rephrase the question. I'm gonna read out a resume to you. I know it might be a giveaway. But a 6-time All-Star, a 2-time second All-NBA, a 1-time third All-NBA, 2 top 10 finishes in MVP voting, and a 3rd place finish and a 2nd place finish in and clutch player of the year. Is that guy a Hall of Famer?
Can you say it again?
Yes. Yeah, that was fast. Okay, so 2-time second All-NBA, 1-time third All-NBA, 6-time All-Star, 2 top 10 finishes in MVP voting, and 2 top 3 finishes in clutch player of the year.
Any championships?
No, he's actually historically one of the worst playoff jobbers of all time.
I know who this is. No, he's not a Hall of Famer, unfortunately. He didn't. I don't think he did much in college either. So I gotta see. Not like winning wise in college, but do you want me to spoil it or no?
I do believe that he has at least one dunk contest win as well.
An Iron Man.
Definitely an Iron Man. Yeah. He's top 10 in scoring as in total points in the 2010s and also the 2020s as well. Well, maybe not after the 2020s after this year, but definitely after last year though.
John, you want me to spoil it, or
I think you should spoil it. Yeah.
Shout out. Unfortunately, no, Jack Cunningham. DeMar DeRozan is not an MVP. He's not a Hall of Famer.
He's
in this league.
He's near the top of Hall of Very Good though. I can tell you that.
He's a Hall of. Yeah, he was good.
He plays every night. He's an absolute bucket, and he has longevity. So yeah, very very good player. Okay, we got two more, and they're both very good questions. One of them is a little more of a troll, but the other this one's a very good question. So, shout out to Drew Fitzpatrick, Primetime Sports Talk writer and also a friend of the pod. For about 5 minutes on Matt's phone. Is Tyrese Halliburton a top 10 player in the league?
No,
I don't think so.
No, but if he wins a championship, there'll be discussions.
Yes, there sure will be. So, at the end of the day, Jokic, Giannis, Tatum, Shea, Luka, Ant, LeBron, KD, Steph. That's
Brunson.
9. Yeah, probably Brunson. But
did you say D Mitch?
I did not say D Mitch.
Right now.
D Mitch is better than Halliburton. He played better than the last series. Don't get it twisted. So, I will. I'll take. Yeah, so I would say top 15. I had him second team All NBA this year.
That was closer than I thought, though. When I saw that question, I kind of was like, oh, it's a little recency bias, but that
he's climbing up there for sure.
That's close. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna say no. I think he's in the 11 to 14 range.
Mm-hmm. All right, last question, and he hasn't come on the podcast, and I don't think he will. But that's okay. But I will consider him somewhat of a friend of the pod. Or do we have one more question in addition to this one? Actually, give me 1 second. I feel like there was one, but again, good podcasting. We'll say that next. We'll say the other one next week that Drew asked. But so the question is coming from Matt's roommate Dean, friend of the pod. He said, "AAH, first time caller, long time listener. Do you still think that Donovan Mitchell is a better player than Brunson?" I'll hang up and listen. 10 toes down. You're goddamn right. I still think that Donovan Mitchell is a better player than Jalen Brunson. Because what changed this year to make me think that Jalen Brunson is still better than Donovan Mitchell? Donovan Mitchell led his team to 64 wins. He just made first team. Oh no, he didn't make first team All NBA. He finished top 5 MVP voting. He's going to make. Tomorrow he's going to make first team All NBA. He in the playoffs this year he averaged 29.7 and on very good efficiency with over two stocks per game. He's been better than Brunson in the playoffs this year. There has been nothing that Brunson has done to change my mind that he's better than Donovan Mitchell. I'm taking Donovan Mitchell over Jalen Brunson, no questions asked. I mean, ask me a question if you want, actually, but like no question. But go ahead.
What has Jalen Brunson done in the playoffs, Chris? He beat the defending champions.
What did he? Okay, did he outplay Donovan Mitchell though?
Yes, Donovan Mitchell won 64 games this year. Okay, Donovan Mitchell won 64 games this year.
Yes,
is the first option, and couldn't make it out of the second round again.
And why is that?
It's unacceptable.
Why is that? His second and third player were banged up, and he was filthy in this. He had one bad game, but he was filthy the other 4 games, over 30 points.
All right, let me read off a couple stats here.
Sure.
Since Brunson has been on the Knicks,
okay,
he averages more points, more assists, on better efficiency from the field and from 3. They played head-to-head once in the postseason, and I believe, not pointing fingers, but you, All-American Hooper, had the Cavs in 5 that series, and the Knicks won in 5.
Yes.
Let me read off a couple names for you. Okay. Michael Jordan, Jerry West, Kobe Bryant, James Harden, and Allen Iverson.
Okay.
Those are the only guards in NBA history that have more 40-point playoff games than Jalen Brunson. Jalen Brunson won Clutch Player of the Year this year. He's one of the biggest. I mean, you're making me a Brunson stan right now, which is disgusting for me. He's one of the biggest playoff risers in the sport. And Donovan Mitchell hasn't made it out of the second round since when?
This is
the go, John.
Outside of you can if you're going to discredit the stats from Brunson's time in Dallas, you can't really give him credit for making the Western Conference Finals in Dallas.
Well, Luka was out for a while. He kind of led that team. I think
it was 2 games.
This is the first year that Mitchell's made it out of the second round. Brunson.
Yeah, and he beat. I mean, the Celtics were banged up, but he beat them. Like that was a big upset. You got to give him credit for that.
Well, it's not like he was amazing though. Like we even talked about this. He wasn't amazing last series. It was the Celtics shooting themselves in the foot. It was the Knicks role players that stepped up as well. It wasn't a carry job by Brunson.
Yeah, Brunson had one elite game.
I'm not saying it was a carry job, but I think he played very, very well.
I think that Mitchell played better against the Pacers than Brunson did against the Celtics.
I mean, the Celtics defense is also way, way better than the Pacers defense.
Are you sure about that? Based on the way that they played?
Celtics defense, they held the Knicks to 91 points in game 2.
Okay, that's fair enough, actually. I don't know. No, it's Mitchell was clearly better in the regular season this year, and he was better than in the postseason this year. There is nothing that Brunson did.
I don't think he's been better in the postseason this year.
I think he has been. He was filthy last series. Up in early in the second round, people were saying Donovan Mitchell has been the only superstar that has been consistently great, in the playoffs.
The stats are pretty similar for 2025 playoffs. Both averaging 29, 30. Brunson's got the clear advantage in the assist numbers. And then, Mitch has the advantage in rebounds. I would give the defensive, I would lean Mitchell. Obviously.
I'm not leaning Mitchell. I think Mitchell's the clear better defender there.
Right. Well, I'm not trying to give Donovan Mitchell credit for being a good defender because he's not, but Brunson's just that bad on defense.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mitchell's the tallest what's the politically correct term that we used last week, Chris?
Little person.
He's the tallest little person on defense.
He's not a bad defender.
Mitchell?
Okay. He's not bad. He's not good.
I think Brunson, if we're doing hypotheticals here, Chris, I think Brunson would be a way better defender if he had Evan Mobley and Jared Allen behind him instead of Karl-Anthony Towns.
Okay, he has OG and Mikal Bridges and Josh Hart around him. Let's not poo-poo.
He's not good defenders.
Yeah. Josh Hart, who was asleep on the elbow with 30 seconds left last night.
Okay, Skip Bayless pointing at one point in the game to fit your agenda. All right.
One point of the game, the biggest moment of the game.
Yes, correct. So, all right, but I can see both sides as well. But I'm still firmly standing on my ground there.
Since joining the Knicks, do you know how many points Jalen Brunson is averaging in the postseason in 37 games?
A lot.
30.
Yeah.
With 7 assists.
Very good.
What year did he join?
That's it. 22-23.
Yes, this is the third year. It's played in 37 playoff games.
Yeah.
Oh yes, yeah. I guess it's the third
year.
So,
6 and 7 every series.
That's fair enough. Yeah, I forgot about that.
He put away the Pistons this year, game 6. He had a great game 6 and had the shot to put it away.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't he go wasn't he super super he missed a bunch of shots before that though?
I don't remember honestly. Yeah, probably. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, I know that Morris said yesterday that he doesn't. Yeah, it's debatable that Mobley was better than Mitchell this year, so we shouldn't have finished top 5 in MVP in that winning bias, which I don't know what you guys think. I think that winning bias is my least favorite terminology. I think in sports.
What does that mean?
Winning bias.
Yeah,
that you're ranking a player higher because they're winning, which I do believe that's silly if you're doing it just on winning, but I'm going to rank you higher if your team wins lots. And you're a main reason for that. And Donovan Mitchell was the best player in the Cavaliers this year, which is why I'm going to rank him high. So
I would say that Brunson's averaging about 2 more points a game since 2023 in the playoffs, but he is taking 2 more shots and 2 more free throws a game. Brunson does take a lot of shots.
Yeah, he does. I mean, he had to last
this season, I guess, with the addition of Bridges and having Cat and all the, but this postseason, it's down to only 21 a game, which is actually it's just like Mitchell. But last year he shot 26 field goals a game in the playoffs, which is
Mitchell or Brunson did 26 in the
Brunson shot 26 a game.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
By the way,
he's making a lot of those shots though. Yeah.
Jalen Brunson's quote unquote not good series, according to Chris, was 26.2, 7 assists, and 3 boards on 45% from the field.
Okay. Yeah. Like I know the numbers look good, but we
40%
watched
from.
I don't think Brunson was the reason why the Knicks beat the Celtics.
We watched that series though. He wasn't great.
He was a very main reason that they won.
But like he didn't do better than we. He played worse than we expected him to play though. I think that's very clear. Like I don't care what the numbers say. He played worse than we expected.
Yeah, he played worse than averaging his normal 30 in the playoffs and since he's been on the Knicks.
Yeah.
He averaged 26 against the defending champs with Drew Holiday, Derek White, and Jaylen Brown guarding him and Jason Tatum roaming. One of the best defenses in the league.
Well, Drew Holiday shut him down. It was efficiency wise, Drew Holiday was like he wasn't scoring on Drew Holiday. He was scoring on Derek White and whoever it was. Yeah, Derek White doesn't match up well with him, unfortunately. But I guess it was JB was the other one on a bum knee. But
I just think that like Brunson was cooking Derek White in that series.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But like with the exception of Game 4. I didn't think there was a game where he like took over and won. Like games 1 and 2, like Bridges was really big down the stretch.
Mm-hmm.
Like there were a lot of like other hits.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's
but people are gonna take Brunson for like the big moments and everything because he's been put in bigger moments, but. Donovan Mitchell averages the most points per game ever against the Celtics. So like it's not you could talk about Brunson playing awesome against the Celtics, but Donovan Mitchell would have done the same. Like, which I know it's hypothetical, but like I think he would have done the same thing. Yeah,
it's tough to say when it doesn't happen.
I know, but I know, but it didn't happen. Like it's not like the Cavs didn't lose because Donovan Mitchell played bad. They lost because granted, like game 2 was an all-time choke. But
if you're the first option on a 64-win team and your team is a second round exit, you deserve slander. You deserve to
some slander.
Yeah.
But like his second and third best players were out and they were
for how many games didn't they miss?
They missed one game, but they were like questionable and doubtful like the day before game 3. So. And
I mean, we discredited Brunson last year for losing to the Pacers when half their starting lineup was out. And he broke his hand in Game 7.
I mean,
and Brunson rolled his ankle about 6 times this postseason. He's playing banged up too.
I don't think we're putting enough emphasis on how bad Brunson is defensively, though. Either
I'm not.
Oh no, I'm not either. But I mean, we would have brought that up more if Donovan Mitchell was at least an average defender.
I don't know, but
you think he's an average defender?
Yes,
you do. I don't know.
Maybe slightly below average, but I think he's a clear tier ahead of Brunson. How about that? Yeah, clear tier.
I think you could say anybody's a tier ahead of Brunson. I would agree with you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I also I know the Brunson average is more assists, but like we could talk about this. I also think that Mitchell's a better playmaker than Brunson because given like Brunson has I know he has to do this to an extent, but like given like how much he holds onto the ball like at the top of the game and runs down the clock, which it works a lot, but like there are certain moments where it doesn't. So like I definitely trust Mitchell's court vision more. Scoring probably goes to Brunson's way, but Mitchell's clearly more athletic. He's clearly in better shape. So. Yeah, give me Mitchell. I do think he hasn't been put in the best situations. This year was a great situation up until the last week. So, yes, Dean, I'm taking Donovan Mitchell.
He does deserve slander, though.
I feel like other than game 4, he played awesome though. So, it's really tough to give him that much slander because you could say that we slander. How much did we slander Jalen Brunson for losing Game 7? I feel like we didn't. I feel like we really didn't do that. I feel like we knew.
The second round.
I mean, yeah, but that's for agenda purposes. So, I don't know.
Exactly. Yeah.
All right. So, this was awesome. Like I was afraid we weren't gonna have enough time for mailbag purposes, but we clearly got enough outs. And. I don't know. Maybe we'll do.
Mitchell's a minus 19 in Game 1.
Oh, come on.
I didn't notice that.
You can do plus minus. Let's pull up usage rate now. Let's really get into the.
I can't believe he was a minus.
Time of possession.
He was a minus 19, and he shot electric from 3. That's crazy. 1 of 11.
How many points did he have?
33.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, so I rest my case. All right. Mailbag was awesome. We'll see what happens next week. We'll be back next week. Who knows? I don't know. Like, I doubt that either series will be over. But regardless, it will be a lot of fun. Obviously we'll be approaching the podcast in a different way because we were doing very Celtics heavy last year. But I'm sure we'll talk about other things besides the series. Get the series going on. We'll probably dive into some offseason stuff as well. But either way, looking forward to it. Before we close out, John, I apologize for not bringing up how fire your shirt is. Happy Memorial Day weekend to our fallen soldiers. And whoever's coming down to the Jersey Shore, have a lot of fun, but behave. Be on your best behavior because we welcome you, Bennies, but we also that's only if you guys do the same thing and behave on your end. But I know that's not going to happen though. So, this has been another episode of the All American Hoops podcast. Check out my additional content, NBA Max on Sundays. Won't be on next week, this week, but I will be on the week after. Also, check out my column on primetimesportstalk.com. I did publish my predictions for the Western and Eastern Conference Finals. That will be it's posted now. You can check out on the website now. Follow me on all social media platforms at All American Hooper on TikTok and Instagram, spelled in different ways, and at American Hooper on Twitter. This has been another episode of the All American Hoops podcast. John, Matt's pleasure as always. Until next time, keep grinding and stay open. Have a great night, everyone.
Oh, Canada. Put on a suit, drink water. Don't drink and drive. Hey, man, call your mother.
It means nothing. It means nothing.
Nah, they lying to you. It's about the money.
Now you're more fluent.